basically, we want to have a world in which the criterion by which you judge success of the performance of an economy, or failure, flip side of it being failure, is the wealth of a nation, not the GDP of nations. And wealth, as you know, the word carries with it the normal idea that it's the value of the assets that the economy possesses. Now, what is new, I suppose, is the inclusion in this array of assets of items which have traditionally been ignored. Even 30 years ago, national income accountants wouldn't have regarded education and skills as part of the assets of an economy, but they are. We call it human capital now. We've extended the idea of capital to now include, of course, nature. So the idea would be to now think of the productive base of an economy in a very inclusive way and ask whether that is growing. The idea that we want to explore now is to empirically estimate the wealth of economies, just as we sometimes estimate the wealth of our household. You live in a family, and if somebody says, are you wealthy or are you poor? Or if you ask yourself that question, how would you go about answering it? You would look at the assets, whether the house is yours, whether you have stocks and bonds, shares in firms. And if you're really intelligent, you would say, oh yes, but also I went to college, and I have an expectation of earnings into the future. Maybe I should take that into account when I compute or estimate our wealth. And then I have a garden. Maybe I should value that. Now, the garden may have a market value. The problem in green growth, if you like, arises out of the fact that so many of the assets that should be included don't have market prices. So that's a very, very big difficulty. But we do know how to try and find their social values. This is going to be hit and miss, but you have to start it. Because if you don't start it, you're really on the wrong track. So green growth means growth in the wealth of nations, but wealth is to be interpreted now as an index of the bundle of assets it has access to. And there are several types of assets. And under each category of assets, there are many, many subcategories. So for example, natural capital is a form of asset. That's nature. And we now use that expression very regularly. But within that, you have oil and natural gas. That's natural capital. Forests, that's natural capital. Ecosystems, wetlands, and so forth and so on. So our task is going to be, should be, to try and bring those assets into economic calculations in order to judge the performance of the economy.